you can able to access those content. So here we go. The reason why I asked you all to share your information, like the name and the email ID, because we wanted to give you the access to this portal. That is our LMS portal. And LMS stands for the learning management system we follow in our X8 robotics. And through this portal, you will have the theoretical content in your site, so that by any chance, if you miss anything throughout the class, or if you want to build project out of the concept mentioned in the LMS, you can able to use those things as well. So I will assign you each and everything after this meeting. And so in day one, we are going to have the proper introduction of robotics and how we are utilizing robotics in different sectors. We will have a proper glance on that, as well as I will introduce you the industrial automation to learn and understand the concept how industrial automation is bringing the revolution in this field. Like automating the task makes our life easier, right? If I ask you the question like why robotics is important for all of us, then what will be your answer? You can raise your hand throughout the session and also like communicate back to me, so that it will be good for you as a student, because you need that proper speaking capabilities in your near future for project demonstration, as well as in your interviewing process. So it is very much important. So let me have the proper interaction throughout the session. So I asked one of the question like, why do you have any idea like why robots and robotics is important for all of us? Anyone from the members?
For automation.
Yeah, robotics, especially the robotics. Do you have any idea like why robotics and robots are very much important for a human being? Anyone do have any idea? Because you joined this session, so I believe you already went through the basic internet search to understand what is this topic and how this topic is going to help you for your future perspective, right? See, the reason why I'm asking you this question, dear students, because I want the active participation throughout the session. Otherwise, what will happen? Because you are the engineering college student, right? You are not from the school. So it is more important for you to interact throughout the session. Because, see, I'm going to deliver the session whether you are going to answer or not. It is totally not required. But if you participate in actively throughout the session, then it will become more beneficial for you. Anyone from the team side?
It is used for better accuracy to within a workplace.
That's great. That's the simple answer I want, because I'm not going to judge you based on your answer. I just want the proper interaction. That's great. Thank you. So actually, whenever we speak in terms of robotics, suppose if I ask you a question, is it possible for a human being to go nearby to the volcano source? Is it possible? A simple yes
Just
and
repeat.
no will work for me.
Just
No,
repeat,
sir.
sir. Just repeat 1 second, sir, please.
If I ask you to like go nearby to the volcano source, like nearby to the volcano, is it possible?
No, sir.
No, sir.
And the reason why it is not possible? May you come up with the technical point why it is not? We cannot able to go nearby to the volcano without proper suits and the proper protective equipments. Anyone?
Because its temperature too high to handle it.
That's great. That's what I call the active participation. So the temperature is too much high in technical terms, right? So we cannot able to go nearby. So robotics is some kind of mechanism which help us to carry out those tasks on that particular point of environment where a human being cannot able to reach or cannot able to accomplish the task. Similarly, if I take another example, like if I ask anyone to grab a glass of water from the kitchen to your room you are currently sitting in, then what will be your answer? Your answer may be yes, because bringing a glass of water is too much easy for all of us, right? But if I ask you to repeat that task for rest of the day again and again, then what will happen to your body?
Body will get tired.
That's great. You will get tired, and you requires, because human beings are not designed in such a way to do the repetitive task, right? We cannot able to perform the repetitive action. We cannot able to do that because it will make us tired. So basically, the evolution of robots came into existence to help human beings to carry out those tasks which are not possible for us. That is the repetition in industry. The in industry where like mobiles being manufactured or other devices like the computers and the systems or car or bike being manufactured requires a repetitive action over there, right? So on that particular point of environment, what we need to have a proper automation to perform the task without getting tired, and robot can able to perform it without any proper support from the human beings. We just have to feed the program and they will perform the duty without asking the questions like I am getting tired, I'm not going to do this. They won't ask this type of question, right? So in simple terms, we can say that robotics is something like a mechanism based machines which can able to help us to carry out those tasks in different environments. So if we see the history evolution, like how it came to the existence and where it is currently being used, so we can see the funny story is there with the evolution of robotics, because one Czech writer, Karel Capek, introduced in his play about the robotics. Like he performed a play. You can able to search through the Google as well. You will find plenty full of videos of that play in the internet. So he performed a play to explain the world, like we require some of the devices, or in future we will have some of the humanoid kind of structure in place of human being to help us carry out day-to-day tasks, or it will help in the industry, it will help in the automation sector as well as everywhere around the world. So basically, it is started in the year 1921, and further, we do have the current scenario like where we are utilizing robotics in each and every sector, in assembly facility, in production facility, as well as in manufacturing sector. So if we look closely, like how a robot works, like what are the different components of robot, then you can see there are plentiful of things which we can correlate with our natural bodies, right? So according to us, like according to the human body, what we do have is three sets of things in common. In computer also, we do have these three set of things, human and computer. So what it is? First one is the input devices in computer, and second one is the processing unit, and third one is the output device, right? So basically what input devices does in computer is to gather the information from the physical environment, right? As well as the processing unit decides what to do based on the input coming from the environment and what not to do. Like we as a human being were also taught in this field from our parents, from the loved ones, and many people's guided throughout the journey. Even though right now you are in engineering college and teachers, faculty members were guiding you to do certain tasks in proper way and should not do some of the tasks without any with any support of others. So that is much more important. And that what we call the programming feature in robotics. We are being programmed like our parents guided us to do certain things and not to do certain things. Similarly, we feed some of the programs to the robotic structure to perform certain tasks in the environment. So basically, we do have eyes in our body to give us the visual perception, right? But in robotic structure, what we do have is the cameras and various kind of sensors to provide the input to the robotics brain. So processing unit is nothing but the brain of robotic system or any industrial automation system through which it can able to decide what to do and what not to do. So here you can identify several sensors are mentioned in here. So in robotics, input devices are known as sensors, and there is in picture, there is various kind of sensor like microphone, ultrasonic sensor, inertial sensor, angle sensor, pressure sensor, temperature sensor, and tactile sensor. So Camera actually used to give robot the visual perception of the environment. Microphone provides the ability to understand the sound waves or sound coming from the environment side. Ultrasonic sensor is one of the type of sensor which helps robots to identify the obstacle present in front of it. And inertial sensor is for the stability purpose. It's like in different application, like the inertial, we do have different application of inertial sensor. Like in aeroplanes, you find these kind of sensor to balance the plane while taking the turn and to perform the maneuver, like lifting off and touching down the ground. So these sensors are the core of each and every robotic system. I'm not saying that aeroplane is completely a robotic structure, but each and every machine in our life follows the same rule. The reason why I'm showing you this picture, or I'm stating this statement, because I want to correlate those things which are happening in our day-to-day life to the application of robotics, how we can able to build such system to help ourselves. So angle sensor helps the robotic structure to get the orientation feedback from the robotics body, as well as the pressure sensor helps how much atmospheric pressure in ATM is there outside. Or suppose if any by mistake it does something or came into the contact of high pressure devices, then the pressure sensor will inform the brain of robotic system to perform the task. What is this designed to do? The temperature test sensor takes the reading of different temperature present in the environment, as well as tactile sensor is used to identify if in gripper is holding something in his hand or not. Tactile sensor basically is to provide this touch sensation to the robotic spot. So if we move further in this, we can see one more example to clear our doubt. Like we do have different categories of sensors in the robotics body, whether we are going to build a simple robot for us to carry out day-to-day tasks, as well as if we are going to build some of the industrial automation, then these kind of things are required to build. So distance sensor, we do have various kind of distance sensor. The audition sensor is able to give provide the audio ability, that means or learning the audio abilities from the devices. The touch sensor provides the feedback of having the sensation of touch, like robot can able to feel that something is in their hand with the touch sensor. As well as the vision is all about the camera modules, and the camera can able to identify certain things. Have you seen any of the implementation, like any implementation of these devices in your day-to-day life? Do you have any idea like how these devices is being employed in our day-to-day life around you? Anyone? Anyone do have idea like where you have seen these sensors being used to help yourself carry out certain tasks or to help in your day-to-day regular activities? No?
For vision, just like CCTV camera is used.
Yeah, that's great. So apart from the CCTV camera, sir, actually, we can see one of the implementation of camera thing in the traffic light signals, right? The camera can able to detect, take the video from the environment, and further programming can able to detect the presence of a person wearing a seat belt or not, a person wearing a helmet while riding the bike or not. So those are the system being already implemented, and that particular system is known as ITM. We are talking about the ITMS project, and it is all about intelligent traffic management system. So these kind of system is also the part of the automation, and we are utilizing several programs and the combination of these things to help ourselves carry out the task. So authority can able to go through the same and can able to detect whether violators are there or not. So you can see plenty of vision sensors being employed in different robotics. If you also go through the Google search, you will find plenty of the cameras and image sensor modules being provided. And also in the later slide, we will discuss about the implementation of those. But as per the point of view, like the robotics point of view, you see many of the boxes does have the color codes in it. So in separation in industry where the separation requires like to identify each and every object, and we have to separate those objects accordingly into the racks or any other places, then we can able to utilize the image sensor to understand what is there in front of the robotics structure. So proximity actually gives the alert system, provides the alert feature to the robotics structure. It helps us, it helps robotics structure identify and identify the environment, the robotics environment. So proximity sensor can able to detect the obstacle in front of this robotic system, and actually we are utilizing the proximity sensor to build the 3D map around the robot. So we are building 3D map around the robot, then only robot can able to understand what is in there on the right hand side, what is in there on the left hand side, in front as well as in back. So whenever an obstacle comes in front of the device, the sensor will inform the brain to stop producing motion on that particular direction. So robotic structure will stop its command and follow the other direction from the brain command itself. So we are utilizing these kind of sensors in our robotics structure to help robots understand the more about their environment, as well as they can able to perform their work without any further problem. So you can see one more examples is there, that is the touch sensor. And you all know the importance of touch sensor in our life, right? You know where the touch sensor is being used currently? Anyone from the student side? You can come up with
Mobile
your answer.
fingerprint.
Sorry, sir?
Mobile fingerprint.
Yeah, the fingerprint sensor is something different. That is the biometric sensor, which can able to detect our fingerprint to unlock and lock the mobile. So that is a little bit different compared to the normal touch sensor. The screen itself you are using in your mobile phone is the touch sensor. You can able to control each and every application using your finger in the screen itself. Earlier, we were using the conventional button type of system in the robotics structure, as well as the mobile is the perfect example of how we are providing the inputs to the system and how the mobile is processing our inputs and providing the outputs in form of like application interface or other things. Like if we dial some of the random number in a screen and hit the call button, then it will call that particular person, right? So we are seeing this kind of example in our day-to-day life, and touch sensor are very much important because it can able to detect the presence of human touch or anything like any obstacle it come in front of the device, then it can able to identify and able to help the brain to decide what to do and what not to do. This is how a normal touch screen works. And we do have registry flip. This was used in late 90s, but not right now. This one is the registry type of touch screen where one surface is placed against the other. So the conducting plate informs the brain like which point it is being touched. So right now we do have another technology in our hand, that is what we call capacitive touch. Capacitive touch takes the capacitance from your body and it informs the mobile to do certain tasks. It won't work if you use any plastic material or any other material compared to the normal skin of our body. So this is how the capacitive touch screen works in our mobile phone. And further, we do have gyroscope and accelerometer. You will know where gyroscope and accelerometer are being used nowadays. And we do have one of the major example where we can say that in planes, in different planes and different rocketry system. Have you ever heard about the SpaceX or the Tesla? And the founder of both, the Elon Musk. Have you ever heard about this name?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Correct. And why SpaceX is so much popular? Do you have any idea? Anyone do have any idea why SpaceX is popular in rocketry business? Anything that is in your mind, just speak it out. I would like to see your knowledge base as well, so that I can able to deliver the content accordingly. That is very much important for me to estimate each and everything.
They make
Otherwise,
reusable.
yeah, yeah, Salman, go ahead.
They make reusable rocket.
That's a great answer. Reusable rocketry system means one time if you launch your rocket from the ground to the outer space, it will come back to the ground and land itself, right? It will land itself. So there is no involvement of human interaction in these process, because it is utilizing these particular sensor to identify the location of the rocketry system, so that it can able to sense which direction and what is the orientation of the incoming rocket, and then further it shoots out the propellers. So it propellants in the air and it burns the propellants, and through the balancing and again taking the reading from the sensor, it senses that now it does have the 000 coordinate, means it is on the origin, and it able to like align itself to the ground. So this is how we can give the example of using the accelerometer and gyroscope. And the three term being used in accelerometer and gyroscope is the pitch axis, this one is the roll axis, and this one is the yaw axis. So whenever you are going to build some of the drone in your final project or learn how to build the drone system, then you will utilize these sensors to stabilize your drone, as well as while operating the drone using the remote controller you have to learn these three things like the pitch axis, roll axis, and yaw axis. So this will help you build further projects related to the same. So after that, what we do have is the actuation system. Remember, I mentioned one of the important term, like why the robotics structure does have actuators, right? And what is actually the actuator is in robotic system. So actuator is nothing, but we mentioned three of the basic component to build any robotic system, right? First one is the inputs device, and in robotics we call it as the sensors. Second one is the processing unit, which we call the brain of robotic system, or the technical term for this particular brain is microcontroller. We are going to utilize some of the microcontroller for this application. And further, what we do have is the output device. Output device is responsible to provide the actuation and locomotion. Actuation and locomotion. And why I mentioned this actuation and locomotion, because actuation and locomotion is all about producing producing some kind of motion in the body itself. So actuation and locomotion system is responsible to produce motion in the body. So the word actuator came from the word, the same actuation. Actuators can able to provide the functionality of motions in the robotics body. So actuators are the muscle of a robot responsible for converting electric signal into physical motion. They enable robots to interact with the world by performing tasks such as moving limbs, manipulating objects, and changing their position. And the common type of actuators are, I guess one mistake happened in there. This image is mentioned in here, but this one is not the image. But different actuators, I will share you in the group, like different images of this actuators itself. So after the actuator, what we do have is different kind of motors. So actuators is something different compared to the motors, right? You already learned the concept of motors in your early classroom program in class 10, 11, 12. And further in engineering, you heard this particular sentence like the actuation. So motor is something device which can provide the actuation in robotics body, but not actually the actuators, because it always produces the motion in circular direction, whether it is the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction. So clockwise direction and CCW. So electric motors can able to work in both of the environment, and both of the current it can able to use, that is the AC and DC. So you can see one of the example is mentioned in here. The robot is utilizing several motor kind of stuff, but the name of this motor does not limits on the motor itself, but one more thing is added to this motor, like the servo one. Remember during the workshop I explained, if by any chance you attended the last workshop in GKCM, you have understood the concept of servo and why we are utilizing servos in place of motors in our robotic system. Do you have any idea what is servos and why we are going to use this servo in our robotics application? Anyone? No one does have the idea? Okay, let me clear this thing for you to understand how and why these servos are different from the conventional motors. So in motor, if you like ever operated the motor, you've seen that after applying the polarity, means after applying the voltage potential to the end of this motor, the motor will start rotating in one of the direction. Rotating in one of direction means it will either rotate in the clockwise direction or in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So this is how a normal motor works in the environment. But if you look closely to the servo motor, you can find one little difference between the motors and this conventional servo things. So servo can able to operate in a specific direction at a specific angle. Means in a circle we do have 360-degree, right? If we ask our servo to rotate exactly at 1 degree, then it will rotate clockwise direction at 180-degree. So it does require two of the basic inputs to operate. First one is the directional sense. Directional sense will be the clockwise and counterclockwise direction. And second one is the angle of rotation. The angle of rotation. How much angle you want this particular device to rotate. So these two things can be controlled using the servo. That is why in many industry and in industrial automation, we are utilizing servo, and the advanced version of the servo is the stepper motor. So we are utilizing these kind of system apart from the motor, conventional motor itself. So motor can only able to rotate, whether it is clockwise and counterclockwise. We can able to control the RPM in motor, but we cannot able to control two of the aspects. First one is the direction of rotation in a single go, as well as the angle of rotation wherever it requires. So you can see several servos are placed in this board. That is the knee servo motor cam mechanism. You already heard from about the cam mechanism. Hip servo motor, idler mechanism, bi-articulate spring, cap mechanism, and diagonal spring. So these kind of servos we can able to use in our robotics journey to accommodate our robots with certain type of motion. Without using the servo motor, we cannot able to replicate human movements. Like we do have a many degree of freedoms in our body, right? So we can able to pick and grab anything from anywhere. So similarly, the servo motors are like control over angles, position, often used in application requiring accurate movement. So if you have to move exactly 1 mm, then you can use this particular motor to control the end effectors, or many more applications are there for the servo motors. But apart from the servo motors, we do have one more kind of actuators in robotic system that is known as pneumatic and hydraulic actuators. So whenever these two terms will come in front of you, that means in pneumatic, we are talking about some application of compressed air. Means we are trying to produce the motion using the compressed air in the body itself. And in hydraulic, we are utilizing the application of, anyone do have any idea about hydraulic thing? If you help me with your answer, because you maybe know about the hydraulic stuff. Have you attended any of the mechanical workshop in your college?
It works on Pascal's law.
Yeah, it works on the Pascal law, yes. But what it is exactly, like how we can say some devices are hydraulic based or some devices are pneumatic based? The major
Hydraulic
application, like
use like liquid, pneumatic use air. Yeah.
Very good, Saurabh. So pneumatic means compressed air, obviously, and hydraulic means the application of compressed fluid. Any kind of fluid we can use in our hydraulic system, but most preferably we use the combination of the oils, the natural oils, not the petrol or diesel, not the flammable oils, but inflammable fluids we can utilize in the hydraulic system. Fluids like water is also being utilized in some of the applications. So using the compressed fluid, we can able to produce the motion in robotics structure. And why this is important, because sometime what we need to have in, like, you know the difference between the Tata Nano and Lamborghini, right? You know the basic difference between the both of the things. You know why these two cars are different, or any Ford manufactured car or any high-end car? What is the basic difference? Do you have any idea? Saurabh and Salman, you were three of you, and Abhishek, you were actively participating in this session. So I'm asking you as well. So what is the basic difference between the low-end cars and high-end? Any idea from your side?
Sir, horsepower engine.
Yeah, that's great. The horsepower, right? The capacity to pull and capacity to travel, right? The high speed will be achieved in the Ford, Lamborghini, and high-end cars, but Tata Nano cannot able to torque the uh, torque the wheels to produce that much of the capacity to pull something or push something, right? So in similarly, in some of the application in industrial robotics, we require more torque. More torque means a normal electrical engine cannot able to produce torque, because we think in terms of the efficiency aspect. Efficiency means whenever we design any of the mechanical, electrical, or computer science related system, but nowadays the robot is important for the computer science student as well, because they are implementing the programming knowledge into the IoT device, and IoT device is nothing but a piece of hardware. So to control the hardware, you need to have this kind of knowledge. And whenever we talk about the usability of high torque in industrial automation, it means we sometimes what happens, we think about the term of efficiency. And whenever we design something, even though if you're going to build some of the project, we think of the few consideration. First one is how efficient this system is, how much efficient this system is, and the cost involved in the building of that particular project. And third one will be the easy to handle. So whenever cost comes into play, and we talk about the electrical energy to drive the engines or drive the things like the robotics system itself, it requires more electric power compared to the conventional things. So using these fluid means the air and like any liquid. So we can able to generate high torque with, with ease. So we can able to generate high torque. And that is what we require in our industrial automation, where the robotic structure have to lift the heavier object or have to place some of the heavier object from one to another. So even though exploration of space and diving into the deep sea does require the involvement of high pressure application, so that place we can utilize the pneumatic and hydraulic structure for our application. So this is why these are important for the in robotic system. So let's talk about the control system of our robotics. As I mentioned earlier, the control system is nothing but the brain of robotics. Right? So brain of robotics does have the capability to decide what to do and what not to do, right? What not to do. So actually, the control system acts as a brain of the robot and processing sensory data and generating commands from the actuator. It encompasses with both hardware and software components, including the microcontrollers, processor, programming languages. So control, you can see one reference diagram is mentioned in here, where the sensor is providing the inputs to the system. That is the reference input. And we do have actuating signals, whether the device is present in the zero state or in the some point of time. Suppose if you are talking about the 3D printer, so printer head is in the home position or in the mid position, it will identify through the actuating signals. And the control element will help the system decide what to do and what not to do. So these feedback signals and the composition of these things is all about the brain of robotic system, how the system is designed based on the inputs and the control elements. And finally, after the processing of the data, it directly helps the output device to understand the situation and act accordingly. So acting on a system is all about the actuation and locomotion, which we already learned before this control systems topic. So acting is something to produce motion or to produce feedback. Even though if we are glowing the LED in one point of time, then we are saying that we are producing some kind of output, right? So glowing an LED is also kind of also a method to understand the output of robotic system. So you already seen throughout the in various places like in YouTube and in industry, maybe you already visited some of the industry to see this particular thing in the production facility, like the end effector. And this is the system through which a robotics structure can able to handle different objects, right? The end effector is also very much important for the robotics structure. Okay, sorry. So end effector is very much important for the robotics structure, and it helps the system to have, okay, let me draw. So end effectors are the major controllers of the input system, oh sorry, the output system. So it provides the output in form of grip to the object, and also it helps to relocate or locate any of the things in the production facility. So these are the common examples of end effector which we can see in various production facility. And you will see different kind of end effectors are there in the production facility to do specific tasks. Like gripper can be used to like pick something and drop something, means to grab. Gripper is used to grab something and hold it on until the time when it needs to drop or it needs to lift. So these are the examples of end effectors in the robotics and automation journey. And we'll see some more examples where we can utilize our different uh, attachments, like the welding tool itself. The suction cup is used to produce the vacuum suction around the boxes to like move the box from one place to another, as well as it helps the robotic structure to follow a line or follow the specific path by gripping themselves on that particular environment. Suppose if we design such a system in which we have to send some of the rovers to that particular planet where there is no gravity. So what will happen to the robots? It will start floating around here and there. So using the suction cups and suction type of end effector can able to make the proper grips in different object as well as in the surfaces. So laser and cutting tools were also being used in different industry, and you can also see many of the application of these things in our day-to-day life. So this is the image representing the high precision gas CNC gas cutting you of metal sheets, as well as we do have one more thing to consider in our robotics journey, that is the power supply. That is the major thing to have in our industrial robotics. Power supply we can provide using the battery system or using the conventional AC or DC power source. You can see plenty full of devices are mentioned in here, and those devices are known as the adapters when you are going to build the smaller robot. But if we talk about the industrial robot, there is SMPS being used, which supplies the proper voltage and amperage value to the system to sustain the proper motion in the robotics body itself. So the power supply provides the necessary energy to run the motors, sensors, and can include batteries, power cords, and even energy harvesting system. And by the term energy harvesting system, I mean about using the using the green energy. Green energy. Do you have any idea what is green energy? Saurabh and Salman, do you have any idea like what is green energy? You already learned this thing before, right?
Green energy like solar energy, wind energy.
Yeah, very good. Solar
Natural
type of,
resources,
yeah, go ahead, Sora.
those energy who comes from natural resources.
Yeah, that's good, but we can say that that is the renewable type of natural resources, right? Which we can able to generate again and again in point of time. That is the renewable source. And without the renewable source, we cannot able to regenerate it again and again, right? So those things are never ending, and we should go for these type of system to have the proper power supply for our automation product or any robotics product. Because if you are going to use again the conventional type of power system, then it is going to hurt the environment. And we have to think on that perspective as well, because we are onto the sustainable development model. And sustainable development model speaks in terms of saving some of the resources for our future generation. That is all about the sustainable development. So we should consider the ethical point of view in robotics and automation while designing such system. So the real world application is wide, from the medicals to like manufacturing sector, in healthcare sector, as well as in entertainment. Robots, we are utilizing nowadays the robots in those sectors as well. So some of the places, maybe in restaurant nowadays, we are utilizing robotics structure to help us to serve the food on our table. That is why robotics is the major topic nowadays to discuss for. And many more industry and many more places we require robotics stuff. Right now, your washing machine and your fridges are cannot able to walk on their own and collect the clothes from the room. But in future, we will have a different kind of robot where we can able to guide those things. Like we can utilize those stuff as well to guide in our day-to-day life, day-to-day tasks. So I'm moving into the next segment of this today's webinar. Is all about the industrial automation and the key points which is being used in industrial automation, like benefits of implementing automation. What is the benefit of implementing automation? Do you have any idea, Saurabh, or anyone from the team?
To increase productivity.
Yeah, to increase the productivity. And also I mentioned one of the terms before, like without using the automation, we cannot able to perform that hazardous or toxic tasks. Suppose if you're working inside the nuclear facility where you have to get exposed to different kind of harmful rays like X-ray, alpha ray, beta ray, gamma ray, then you should not perform those duties, because it will impact your health and it maybe cause death of any person involved. So we are going to utilize those things, and it will help human to help increase our efficiency in each and every places, as well as it will make our life easier to carry out those tasks. So yes, increasing it increases the productivity efficiency, and also increased precision and consistency. When we talk about the healthcare world where robotics is being used, you can see many of the examples are there where a precision surgery is being carried out by the use of robotic system like the end effector and the combination of things, right? So in medical sector, the precision in medical as well as in precision sector, in manufacturing sector, the precision is very much important for all of us. Even though if you make some of the product more than 1 millimeter, like if the dimension is 50 mm or 50 centimeter, and if you make 50.1 centimeter that product, then it won't work in rocketry system or in a production facility, because it will cause the failure to the system itself. So the robotics implementing those things in robotics in our day-to-day life can able to increase the precision as well as the consistency. Each and every mobile phone, I'm just giving you the simple example to understand. If you take the example of mobile phone, it is identical to the same model of another person is using, right? So each and every consistency comes from the automation only, because in automation, what we do have is the feedback loop. It is not only dependent on what the robot is manufacturing, but after the manufacturing process, it is taking the feedback manufacturing process, it is the taking the feedback from the system, like exactly this much amount of dimension being mentioned, covered or not, or it takes care of each and every data, take care of each and every data like the length, a normal data. I'm talking about the normal data, length, width in terms of the mobile phone case or anything. So these kind of precision and consistency is important in this segment because we cannot able to deal with the inconsistent part, and it will also eventually cost us more to like rebuild those stuff and going through the same. So cost saving, yes. Involvement of human beings in the production facility may cost more than the required ones, because we have to go for the proper maintenance in time of period, right? We cannot able to perform the task for a long run. We can only able to do the shift wise work. So a normal human being go for the work for almost 6 to 8 hours a day, but a robotic structure won't say that to you. Robotic structure will complete the task even though we are running the system continuously for a year or for more than a year. So it won't come and say that I do have problem, I'm getting tired. It won't give you the excuse. So removing the excuse factor, yes, we can able to reduce the labor cost, minimize the material wastage, optimize the resource utilization, as well as it we can able to lead to, and these all scenario can able to lead to the improved financial outcomes. So after the cost saving, what we do have is the improved safety and risk reduction, right? So whenever a robotics is being placed in the automation field or in industry, it take care of the safety. So suppose if unfortunate event happened happens during the time of production, then it will inform the main brain and it will stop the complete production facility to further investigate what happened wrong in there. So reducing the exposure of human worker to the potentially harmful environment, this enhances the workplace safety and minimizes the likelihood of accident. And also, as I mentioned earlier, like 24/7 operations can be carried out using the robotics structure. So an automated system can operate continuously, allowing industry to achieve round-the-clock production without the need for human intervention during off hours. Suppose if we have to go for the production of something, then we can able to rely on our robotics product to make that build that those things for us, as well as it can able to use the data collection and analysis as well. Automation system generate a wealth of data that can be harnessed for analysis and optimization. So we can also able to learn from this system how they are performing certain things, and we can come up with the ideas like how to improve that particular thing in our production facility. So insight gained from the data can drive processes, improvements, and inform decision making. So the challenges. Right now, we understood the major concept of robotics and automation in industry. So what are the challenges we are uh, going to face by after implementation, like during the time of implementation of automation and robotics in our workplace? So initial investment and integration, yes, initial investment is a major point to consider because you have to pay for the machinery, software, and training materials. Like you are going through one of the training sessions in here, then only you will come to know how this thing works, right? So in industry also, many peoples have to go for the same training procedure and they must know how to use the software part, and also the major cost involves in the machinery parts itself, because those machines comes in under a very high precise value. So the more precision we speak, the more cost we have to pay, right? In also in normal softs also you can see these examples. The more advanced version of mobile phone you will purchase from the market, you have to pay more on them compared to the normal version of the mobile phones. So yes, the skilled workforce and training is absolutely required for the same. Like automation necessity requires a skilled workforce capable of designing, operating, and maintaining automated systems. Training employees to work with advanced technology is essential, but can pose challenges. So this one is the major thing of consideration. So job placement concerns, right? The fear of job displacement due to automation is a legitimate concern, right? While automation creates new roles, it can also lead to the obsolescence of certain traditional jobs. Striking a balance is crucial. Means nowadays you come to know many things from the internet, like people are losing their job because of the automation in industry. The industry is acquiring the robotics and automation product to help increase the production, right? And they are removing the human involvement on that. So why not to change our skill area on that domain in which you are being guided to develop such of the robots, rather than to work as an employee in there. You should help yourself learn those things on an early basis, so that you can come up with the idea how to develop this system, and as well as to implement this system in our career ahead. So technical challenges and downtime is all about, yes, each and every machine does require a proper maintenance, right? Without proper maintenance, no machine can able to perform its duty. So automation system can experience technical glitches as well, and downtime, disrupting operation, maintaining and troubleshooting this system require specialized expertise. Those persons who are responsible to develop these robots can only able to identify whether and how to fix this machine, right? So technical challenges are also there, and flexibility and adaptability. So some industry require rapid changes in production, which can be challenging to achieve with high automated system. Flexibility and adaptability in response to market demands must be carefully considered, right? So we have to replace, suppose we do have production facility for some of the part being manufactured in our company. So we require to remove each and everything from the production line and accommodate with the new linings, means complete renovation will take place on that time. So flexibility and adaptability is most important aspect implementing these things. And obviously the cybersecurity and data privacy, we all worry about these things in our life, right? So automation systems are susceptible to cybersecurity threats. Many hackers were nowadays are teaching themselves how to hack into the hardware system rather than the conventional computer system, ensuring the security of data, preventing the unauthorized access, and safeguarding sensitive information become critical concerns. So in conclusion, the benefits of implementing automations in industry are substantial, right? Ranging from the heightened efficiency, cost saving to improved safety and data-driven insights. These are the key points to consider while designing such system. But we should maintain the balance against the challenges such as initial investment, job displacement, technical complexity, and the need for a skilled workforce. And navigating these benefits and challenges requires a strategic approach that considers the unique requirement of each industry and aim for harmonious integration of automation into the existing process. So this is all about the industrial understanding of our automation part and the robotic structure, what we do require in our day-to-day life. Let me summarize three of the major concepts in robotics, like the three laws of robotics. And the fun part of these three laws is these particular law came from the science fiction author Isaac Asimov. So we are following his guidelines because he was so much accurate on his points that how we can utilize robotics structure in our day-to-day life, and how robot will like revert back to us with the information. So the three law of robotics composed of, the first law is the robot may not harm or injure any human being through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm, right? So robot, we will not design such a robot which the robot structure will harm a human being until and unless human being will come in contact with the ongoing process and harm themselves, right? Second, a law states that the robot must obey orders given by the human beings, except where such order would conflict with the first law. So see, sort of, I'm not going to say my robot to go and harm, sort of, right? So this should not contradict with the first law. And by any point of time, by any point of chance, we will not guide our robot to harm other human beings. Means the second law would not comes in between the first law. It should follow the first law and then should not produce conflict with the first law. So robot must obey order given by its human. Until and unless we say that go and harm some person and do that unrequired task, It won't do that for us. The third law of robotics is the robot must protect its own existence as long as the protection does not conflict with the first and second law. So robot can able to protect its existence, but it should not conflict with the first and second. So third law emphasize self-preservation of robot. Means robot can able to preserve themselves, as well as it allows them to take action necessary to ensure their own survival. Because sometimes it may happen in future that we opened a production facility where something is being produced, and we like gave the command to the robotic system to like go for the production and complete the production. I'm not going to look into it. You have to take care of each and everything. So robotics structure should know how to repair themselves. Then only the production thing will go smoothly throughout the time, right? So these laws are designed to create a framework for ethical behavior in robotics. Like we do have ethical consideration in our life, right? So whatever we do in our life must be ethically correct. So ensuring that robots do not harm humans and operate within predefined boundaries. However, they also raise important questions and challenges. For example, defining term like harm. What does it mean? Because robots don't know anything about the harm, right? They don't know what is being harmed or how it can able to like correlate with the same incident. Suppose if our parents try to beat us, that is the complete story. That is not harming us in all the senses. But if suppose we do have some of the fight with other peoples around, they are intentionally trying to do that to like make ourselves uncomfortable, then it is called the harm. So we have to bring additional law to do not address all the potential ethical dilemmas that may arise in human-robot interaction. So while the law of robotics are frictional and not enforceable in the real world, they must influence the discussion on the ethical development and deployment of robotics and artificial intelligence. They serve as a starting point for the consideration, the moral implication of intelligent machines, and guide the exploration of responsible design, programming, and decision making in robotics. So these systems, like whenever sometimes what happens, we talk about the artificial intelligence, and people were like used to tell other people that robotics is something related to the artificial intelligence. But let me make my point clear on that. Artificial intelligence is something more advanced compared to the conventional robotic system, because artificial intelligence can able to decide on their own without having proper guidance from the human world. So these system can able to decide what to do and what not to do. But apart from the AI, we do have the robotics. On other hand, robotics does require our set of instruction to perform the duty. So the robots and AI system are governed by the law, regulation, and ethical guidelines established by the human being only. So these frameworks are continuously evolving as society grapples with the challenges and opportunities presented by advancing technology. Overall, the introduction of the law of robotics by Isaac Asimov serves as a thought-provoking exploration of the potential ethical consideration in the development of use of artificial intelligent machine. So fostering discussion on responsible robotics and the role of human in shaping the future of AI. See, the Isaac Asimov already gave its direction and we are still following. So nowadays, the thing is getting evolved, right? We are developing more advanced version of the robot and artificial intelligence. So we should reconsider our consideration in the laws of robotics to make it ethically correct in all the senses. And you also seen one of the example, Asimov, right? And many more applications are there over internet, like the chat GPT. Those are also the part of the automation and artificial intelligence platform. So whatever we see over internet, it is totally relevant in robotics. When we are talking about the industrial robotics or artificial intelligence, we are talking about the practical implementation, means uses of hardware, integration of programming, and understanding the concept and executing the task. But in the robotic process automation, RPA and other platform does utilizes the same, like ChatGPT does have the limitation. They are not utilizing the hardware to perform the action. They are only utilizing the user interface to provide the proper output based on the input provided by the user. So implication and limitation of the law is all about the human safety. We should consider the ethical framework, which I already mentioned. So the law should focus on ensuring human safety by all means, right? By the prioritizing the avoidance of harm to human, the law aims to protect individual from potential risk associated with robot behavior and action. So ethical framework are also very much important. And human robot interaction, how a robot will deal when some human will come in front of the device. So they emphasizes the importance of robots following human command, respecting human authority, and prioritizing human well-being. So trust and acceptance. Yes, trust is much more important aspect in our life as well, apart from the robotics. So whenever you try to build some of the trust, try to keep it as it is, right, in your day-to-day life. So trust and acceptance is also a major key point to consider the robotics implementation. And some of the limitations are there in the robotics law of robotics. First one is the interpretation and context, unforeseen consequences, conflicting priorities, lack of universal adoption, and ethical gray areas. So suppose if you do have something like unforeseen consequences, in unforeseen consequences, the law does not account for all possible ethical dilemmas. Like the situation may arise in human-robot interaction, robot become more sophisticated, and unexpected situation may emerge where the law are insufficient to guide appropriate action. Suppose if you come in contact with the robotics structure while it is producing some kind of motion, then you will harm yourself in between, and after that you will blame the robotics body like it did that to me, right? So we should not do those things as well, and we should take care of these limitations in the robotics while building any systems from the scratch. So obviously, we already discussed the ethical consideration and debates like the privacy and data security, job displacement and economical impact, bias and fairness. So the algorithm and AI system are only as unbiased as the data on which they are trained. Suppose if I'm providing the data like Saurabh is a good boy, Salman is a bad boy, or Salman is a good boy, or Saurabh is a bad boy, then what my AI system will learn that some person we are talking about is good and some person is bad. So some of the person are bad. So AI system will take the decision based on the training modules we are providing to. So it is all about the training modules we are presenting in front of the robotic system. So we have to debate on that, focusing on more developing fair and accountable AI system and addressing the bias in data collection and algorithmic decision making. Then only we can come to the conclusion how we can able to utilize this system. So accountability and transparency is one more major things to consider. So discussions like AI system become more autonomous, right? Questions of accountability and transparency emerges because it becomes crucial to understand how decisions are made and how to hold the responsible parties accountable for the action of AI system. Suppose Saurabh is developing some of the robotic system or AI system, he should be accountable for what the AI developed by him will do to other people around. So those are the framework we should consider. That is the human machine interaction and autonomy. And also I explained each and everything like the ethical decision making by machines and long-term impact and existential risk, right? So let's move on to the another segment of this journey. So let's see some of the case study where we can utilize where we are still utilizing the robotics structure in our day-to-day life. So I'm going to play this short video for you to understand the implementation of robotics in industry. Okay, just allow me to share with sound so that it will be easier for you to have the sound as well. So now I'm going to play it. So you can see many industry does require welding processes and so on. These are the basic concept of how to utilize the servo motors and stepper motors.
Dime has now implemented universal robots in polishing applications.
In order to produce that finish, you have to apply multiple layers of lacquer. Between each layer application, you have to sand and buff, and there's a lot of manual labor involved in that. And the problem is, answer was to introduce robots who could learn from people. You just make one wrong move with sandpaper.
So the Haas machine is popularly known in the robotics segment because Haas machine can able to use the end manipulators to pick and place the components in the facility itself. So you can see plentiful of examples in YouTube and other places. You can find many research papers related to using of the in-arm effectors and so many things. Here also we do have the CNC machine in which the arm effector is effectively placing the glasses. In production facility, to pick and drop the object like after produced products. So in a vehicle assembly facility also, we can see the implementation of robotics structure. In many more conventional outlets, you can see the alignment center. Actually, this particular robot is aligning the wheel properly on the rim side. So you can also design such system for yourself by basically having the conceptual understanding of these things. And in robotics, actually, why the robotics segment is important for all of us, because we will have a proper discussion, not only in terms of to build some of the hardware devices, because computer science student may ask this question, sir, why we are doing this? We are not into the production thing or something. Then let me clear you one thing. It involves the programming, right? And through the programming, you can able to learn different things. Like we are utilizing the Python script for AI development, and that's the major reason you should join this type of programs for your future perspective.
More consumer-focused products for mass-market machinery, producing smaller batches with the same features as before, but with higher quality.
We were drawn to an arm rather than a traditional 3-axis pick-and-place system. This challenge was met by Universal Robots thanks to its torque and positioning control, which is already integrated into the Universal Robots software.
Il prodotto è arrivato al mattino e nel giro di 4 ore è stato molto...
So these are the case study that you can also have the access after this meeting, because I'm going to share the login ID and password for this portal, and you will have proper understanding of these theoretical portion. So the reason why I mentioned these things in the first class, because it is important for you to understand the core concept, how we are utilizing the robotics and automation in different environments, as well as in industry. As you already heard about the industry 4.0 program from the government itself, it requires the knowledge of these kind of domains, the Internet of Things, cyber physical system, additive manufacturing, automation and industrial robots, simulation and modeling, blockchain, augmented reality, big data analytics, and cloud computing, as well as the artificial intelligence. So let's see some of the case study today, and after the case study, this session will be in. So the case study is all about some of the major factories we do have in our world. So like Tesla Gigafactory. So Tesla's Gigafactory is a prime example of automations and transformative impact. The factory employs thousands of robots for tasks such as welding, painting, and assembly. This automation has enabled Tesla to achieve higher production volumes and maintain consistent quality across its electric vehicle. That is why the main whenever we buy something from the market, so from the specific brand, the reason why we go for a specific brand is because of their quality of their service, right? After sales service and the quality of things, materials they are utilizing in their production facility. So the Tesla Gigafactory is one of the best example to consider how they automated each and everything in their production facility to go for the production. And see, you can see many production volumes, high production volumes in the process, and the quality is consistent throughout each and every electrical vehicles being produced. So you can also search through the Google, and you will find plentiful of example. In food and beverage industry, we do have Anheuser-Busch InBev. So this particular brewing company employs automation for various stage of packaging, while automated system controls the brewing and fermentation process. This automation has resulted in increased production capacity and reduced the operational cost. So as well as we do have one famous website or platform for us, for all of us, we all know about this particular platform, that is the Amazon fulfillment service, right? The Amazon services. So Amazon's extensive network of fulfillment centers relies heavily on automation. Automated conveyor system, you can see in this picture here, and the sorting machine are used to efficiently process and ship orders throughout the world. This automation allows Amazon to handle a massive volume of orders with speed and accuracy. So pharmaceutical companies in pharmaceutical industry, you can take one example of Eli Lilly and company. That particular company like Eli Lilly have embraced automation to accelerate drug discovery and development. Automated systems are used for high throughput screening, compound synthesis, and quality control testing. Automation has expedited research process leading to faster drug development. And through the development means in the development of medicinal things. In India also, we utilize the same during the COVID period for the development of vaccines for us, right? So we've utilized several technologies like the automation technologies to automate those processes, and we came to the conclusion and we helped the world on that, right? We helped each and every person in the world. We tried our best to help each and every person, but not all the person in the world. But some of the countries received the vaccines from our side. So Boeing Dreamliner in aviation industry, the Boeing is the perfect example for the high-end automation production facility, because the production line features advanced automation, including robotic drilling and riveting. This automated process ensures precision, precise assembly, and it reduces the human error in between. So this innovation has contributed to Dreamliner reputation for efficiency and quality. So we all heard about the Boeing facility, right? So in logistic and distribution, we do have best example to show you that DHL automated warehouse. And DHL has implemented automation in its warehouse, utilizing robots for tasks such as picking and packing orders. This automation has led to faster order processing, improved accuracy, and optimized the space utilization. In energy sector, we can see some of the example, the oil refinery automation. You already seen this image over internet, right? Each and every person have seen this image before. The oil refinery utilizes the automated system to regulate temperature, pressure, and chemical reaction. So the programming is also involved in there to like get the data from the sensor and respond on the particular point of environment. So ensuring safe and efficient refining operation. And it also creates a workplace, safer workplace for us as well, because without this safety, we cannot able to perform our duty with full concentration, right? If you know that you are going to get hurt in this process, you won't take the process. So in healthcare sector, as I already explained, in robotic surgery nowadays, we are utilizing robotic structure to perform the precision surgery. And also robotic assisted surgery is becoming increasingly prevalent in healthcare. Systems like the Da Vinci, the surgical systems, enable surgeons to perform minimally invasive procedure with enhanced precision, leading to shorter recovery time and improved patient outcome. You should go over to the YouTube and watch the same how the system works. It will be great. It will be fun to watch, and it will be more informative for your studies you are doing currently, because we are the engineers, right? We are the engineers, and we are responsible to develop different technologies in the world. So if we focus correctly on our topics, what we do have in our syllabus, what we do have our day-to-day life, and also we focus on different new upcoming technologies, then we can able to build our scientific platform. Like we can build ourselves as scientists in near future. So those scientists were also, at some point of time, they were also the engineers itself. They tried different combination. They went through the different theoretical portion. They went through the research portion, and then finally came to the conclusion with the product itself. So from the automotive manufacturing to healthcare, automation has proven its ability to increase efficiency, enhance quality, and reshape industry. These success stories serves as inspirations for further exploration and innovation in the realm of automation. So here I conclude my session with the ending remarks, and I would like to know your point of view on that, as well as would like to have many questions from your side, if possible, from you. And please help me with your questions so that I can answer it accordingly and help you understand more about this domain. Yes. Anyone do have any doubts or anything they want to ask? Any students? I hope you understood each and everything, whatever the things I may explain throughout the session, right? Just a yes or no will work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for your response. So this is all about the day one content, and We'll love to be there in the third day of our training session so that you can start with the hands-on learning procedure and you will build several projects throughout the journey. And at the end of this industrial training, you will have a proper understanding of rapid prototyping and how we can able to come up with the idea to develop something new, which is not exist in the internet or in the market itself. So as an engineering point of view, you should take care of those things while building the projects for your final year, while going for the project. Ask your mentors to help you throughout the journey to build something from the scratch rather than copy it from the internet itself, because it is not going to help you throughout the journey. Learn, if you fail learning something, that worth taking the risk, right? If you do not involve in yourself in a position where you can rethink of certain capabilities and reevaluate and do the research work, then it is totally a useless means of doing engineering itself. So it is very much important to all of you to consider these aspects while building anything. I'm not talking only about the robotics and automation. It is useful for our regular day-to-day life as well. So I'm concluding this session for today, and I hope each and every person understood about the terms I mentioned throughout the session, right? So thank you all for joining this session, and we will see you again in tomorrow to have a brief in electronics and other programming learning session. And after that, we will reach in your institution to deliver the hands-on type of session. Thank you so much, sir, Somin sir, for your help and support, and thank you each and every students out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.